and I already told Mango this, am no longer inviting Mango to Mogul Moves events.
Well guys, it's officially official that the internet hates Ludwig. People are hating on him from platforms like Twitter, Reddit, and even his own YouTube comment section. This is how it started. So a few days ago, Ludwig hosted an event called Burial Kart, and it's an event where people there are drinking beer and playing the video game Mario Kart. During the drinking game/gaming event, Ludwig invited a bunch of his friends, with one of them in particular called Mango basically being an alcoholic. And he's not being called an alcoholic just because there's a video of him humping a chair that Senna was on.
Give me a full shot?
Is it like good, like we have something, or no?
No, it's good. It's good.
Okay.
And the funny thing is that even Ludwig literally called him an alcoholic, like it's as if they knew him.
Is like an alcoholic. Mango can drink 30 beers and act the same he does off no beers. He's a machine of a man.
He said he had 7 beers already today.
So just from those 2 clips, it's obvious that Mango has a serious problem with alcohol, which, let's be honest, is not exactly a small issue. It's also clear that when he's been drinking, he completely loses control, judging by what's on that video. And in another clip, you can see that Ludwig, the same guy who decided to invite him to a drinking-focused event, was fully aware of Mango's situation. This is the first big reason people are upset. Because really, what kind of friend knowingly brings someone with an addiction to the exact environment that fuels it? It's like if you had a buddy who can't stop gambling, and you invited them to your poker night. That's just reckless. And since Mango can't keep it together when he drinks, it was almost guaranteed he'd end up either embarrassing himself or doing something he'd regret, all on a live stream watched by thousands of people. But here's where it gets even worse. Because not only did Ludwig invite him despite knowing all of this, he was also actively pushing him to drink more than he already had.
Mango just blew a .25! Mango just blew a .32.
That is my go.
Hey everybody! Mango just blew a .32!
To be clear, that is dangerous. That's not good. That's not good. That's dangerous.
Let's up those numbers!
What was even more worrying was that at this event, Ludwig had a breathalyzer. You know, one of those devices that the cops use when they pull you over to test your alcohol level. So yeah, he was using one of those to gauge just how drunk people were. And when his friend Mango blew on it, he registered a 0.32. Just for context, the legal limit for driving is 0.08%, which means Mango's reading was 4 times over that limit. And do you know what Ludwig's response was to that information?
Let's up those numbers!
After that, he started getting pretty handsy. Mango moved in really close to Senna's face, and it seemed like she was getting uncomfortable with how close he was. So she sort of playfully asked someone to step in and stand between them.
Yo, sorry, I was seeing the deepest pockets. Yeah, shit. No, I'm holding the back right now. I'm holding the back.
He was completely wasted, 4 times over the legal limit, and honestly, nothing good ever comes from someone that drunk getting right up in your face. But it didn't end there. He went on to harass a few other women at the event, though I can't show that footage here because of YouTube's guidelines.
End the stream, Mango said.
End the stream!
After this whole event and that unbelievable display of drunken chaos, Mango ended up being dropped by his gaming org, Cloud9. And honestly, if I ever got kicked out of Cloud9, I'd probably be crying my eyes out. They released a statement that said, "We are aware of the recent incident involving Joseph Mango and fully recognize the concerns expressed by our community and partners. Regardless of his history or achievements, this behavior is completely unacceptable and goes against the core values of our organization. We have a zero-tolerance policy toward harassment or any form of inappropriate conduct." So yeah, in simpler terms, he basically got roasted for the way he acted during the event and on stream. And honestly? Fair enough. Organizations have standards, and he crossed the line. But do you know who else spoke out to criticize Mango's behavior? The same guy who was encouraging him to keep drinking. What a plot twist.
So I feel really bad about that. And, I reached out to anyone who I felt might have felt uncomfortable and talked to them. But also, and I already told Mango this, I'm no longer inviting Mango to Mogul Moves events. Cause like, you know, it's a privilege to go to an event, man. Like the whole point of an event is like, it's a fun thing to do, have a good ass time. And if somebody appearing jeopardizes somebody else having a good time, that just can't be a thing. Now I see a lot of dialogue on like broader implications. I'm only worried about my team, my events, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't speak for the Melee community. I'm not like championing any other action.
So let me get this straight. Ludwig brought along someone he knew had issues with alcohol, hyped him up to drink even more, cheered when he blew 4 times over the legal limit, watched as he got dropped from his esports team, and then basically ditched him and said he wasn't welcome at future events. That is truly a masterclass in backstabbing, man. Absolute peak drama. And thankfully, plenty of people weren't afraid to call him out for it.
I'm sorry, and I'm going to say this again. Ludwig, you are just as at fault for what happened on that day when you invite your friend, a known alcoholic, to your party where you will know that his weaknesses, that his vices will be there, and you don't get him kind of drunk. You get him 4 times past the legal limit, double blackout drunk, near fatal levels of intoxication. You point the camera at him, you say, good job, do more. And then you don't make sure he's okay at all. The guy could have died, guys. And I think it's a joke that we're not making the proper people be accountable.
So, is Ludwig actually a good friend in this situation? Well, it kind of depends on how you look at it. On one hand, you could say he was just trying to include everyone and assumed it would be harmless fun. Maybe he underestimated how bad it could get or thought Mango would know his own limits. But on the other hand, it definitely seems like he ignored some pretty obvious red flags. He knew Mango had issues with drinking, he still brought him to an event that revolved around alcohol, encouraged him to get more drunk, and then stepped back once things spiraled out of control. So whether you see that as bad judgment or just putting content ahead of someone's well-being, it's fair to say this wasn't exactly the most supportive move. The situation got so messy on Twitter that even Mango's wife ended up weighing in. She started posting about everything that went down, and she did not hold back. One of her tweets basically said, "Hope you enjoyed your grace period banning Mango while encouraging him to get f***ing wasted." Yeah, pretty strong words. And not long after she posted that, her account disappeared from Twitter entirely. And honestly, you can see why the backlash against Ludwig exploded the way it did. To a lot of people, it looked like he wasn't just a bystander, he played a big part in setting up this whole disaster. He knew Mango's struggles, he hyped up the drinking, and when it all fell apart, Mango's career ended up taking the hit. From that perspective, it's not hard to understand why so many people are angry. It's not every day you see someone's livelihood unravel on a live stream, and a lot of viewers feel like Ludwig had a responsibility to protect his friend instead of turning the whole thing into content. Whether it was intentional or just really bad judgment, there's no denying this situation spiraled into something way more serious than a gaming party.